This is the 20th season of Bass Talk Live. BTL is presented by Bass Cat Boats, Strike King Lures, Aftco, Pro Guide Batteries, Spro, Gamakatsu, The Bass Tank, Denali Rods, Beatdown Outdoors, and Sunline.
BTL coming at you.
Good morning and welcome to another exciting edition of BTL Bass Talk Live, where we are going to talk about bass fishing. I was out of pocket for a month up there up north where I fished. Actually was like looking through the latest Bassmaster, and I ended up fishing I think like 3 of the top 5 lakes up there, with like St. Clair, Thousand Islands, Lake Ontario, and Champlain, and just did it in just a smallmouth bender over the course of like 20 days. And if you listened to any of last week's shows, had Logan Parks on last Monday, and we talked a little bit about, man, I don't care how much technology you have, how many waypoints you can get access to, how much information you can gather, how many YouTube videos you can watch. There is no experience for time on the water. Like, that is the end all be all of actually learning. Yeah, you can make your time on the water maybe more efficient, but this is probably like the 3rd or 4th time in my life that I've gone like over 20 straight days, like daylight to dark, just completely immersed in it. And while not probably great for off the water life, like on the water life, like just confidence and understanding and making minute adjustments, it's unbelievable. Kind of explains why you have a lot of these younger guys right now who are literally living, tournament to tournament on the road, 30, 40 straight days. It's hard to compete against that unless you're absolutely dialed in with it, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to get today's guest on. When I first started kind of covering this deal, Mark hired me as an intern, I want to say in 2006. And then I interned in 2007 and then went full time in 2008. And that was like during the heyday of a group of anglers who were like the first, what I would say, kind of like rock stars of the sport. And one of those is Skeet. And it occurred to me, I think I've only had Skeet on once since I've taken over BTL from Mark Jeffries. And I think it was like a combo show with Justin Lucas on the show too. So I got a hold of Skeet. He won this year. He got inducted into the Hall of Fame. He's got all sorts of stuff going on. And I did not expect him to answer. And the dude answered the phone, and he was available for an interview. So we got Skeet Reese today.
What's up, bud?
What's going on, Skeet?
A lot.
I mean, like, but seriously, like, how many days do you have, like, where you're in your office where you're like, no, I can rack out a BTL? I would imagine, like, I hit you on, like, one of your 5 days of the year.
I'm in the office a lot. It's just a matter of how much free time is in there. So, like, literally, I've been in here all day today for the most part, but it's we're working on some rod projects that just take countless hours of just details. And it's like, whoever thought there was a joke. So my buddies, just part of the team, just left, and they said, who would have thought that Skeet Reese would know how to use a micrometer?
What are you measuring with the micrometer there, Skeet?
So this is, well, it's not my wiener, so it is. We are doing just from guide wrap lengths, ring sizes for rods. So yeah, it's everything gets broken down into millimeters, and so. But yeah, I am a busy guy between tournament fishing, the business world, family, launching the new company, Reese Fishing. I have a very full plate lately, and I was out of the country for 3 weeks, so I just got back, so I'm trying to catch up from everything.
I did hear, like, right after you won, you like pulled a G move and like bounced for a month.
Well, not quite a month, but 3 weeks. Yeah, we've had this trip planned for a while, so we had a trip to Bali. So my family, so my wife and daughters, and we had another family, so 8 of us packed up and flew to Bali and traveled around there for 3 weeks and experiencing the culture, and come back and now get immersed in work again, and trying to get up to St. Lawrence River to figure out how to try to win that thing.
I just had to Google where Bali is. It is a province of Indonesia, the westernmost of the Lesser Sudan Islands.
It's a long ways away. That's all I can tell you.
How did you settle on Bali?
Well, it was Courtney, my youngest daughter. So
Okay.
this is her graduation trip. So Leah, my oldest daughter, she wanted to go to Europe. So we did Greece and France and all that a couple years back. Courtney wanted to go to Bali. So this is it. This was her graduation trip. And so that's where we went. She just took us halfway around the world to go. It's a long flight. So we flew out of San Francisco to Singapore. So that was like a 16-hour flight. Then you got layovers, 2.5-hour flight from Singapore to Bali. And then it's a 2 or 3 hour car ride to go like 9 miles by car to get over there. So
was it cool?
You know what? There's some really amazing things about it. There's some beautiful stuff. There's the coral's amazing. The cliffs are amazing. The water's beautiful and warm. So the experience is great. The culture, the people, the Indonesian people are just beautiful, loving, caring, nice, compassionate people. So I love that. Just the getting around there sucks. So once you get to where you're going, it's if you want to ride a scooter, I mean, you're taking your life in your own hands. Like literally, it's complete chaos over there.
I mean, is it stuff like that?
Oh yeah, I saw a lot of that. Did a lot of temples.
So that like really exists. That's not just like painting stuff. Like, I mean, you roll in and you're like, holy cow, there it is.
Bali's become the social media influencer mega arena. So everywhere you go, there's chicks just like like all the glamorous
with the selfie
couples, and there's all kinds of just modified pictures of how great it is over there. Even though there's like a shit show of people around you, you only just see them, and it's like no, it's just complete chaos over there.
That's interesting. Hopefully, when this is airing, like I've made it with my girlfriend to Scotland, which was really no good reason. Just wanted to go to Scotland. I turned 40 this year, Skeet,
that's crazy to think that you're 40 now.
I know, which is even crazier to think that you're 55. Okay. So we'll get into this right off the bat, but yeah. So no, you're still looking good. So Scotland. I'm gonna get to fish Loch Ness, and then we're gonna look for the monster for a day. We're gonna go to St. Andrews, Isle of Skye. The whole.
I think I'm more jealous about St. Andrews than anything. Like, are you gonna play like St. Andrews?
No, dude. I used to golf. I've golfed with you before. When we were up in New York on that deal.
Golfing. Was that actual golf?
No, that was fun though. But no, I haven't touched a club in like a year, probably a year and a half. And I was like, you know what? I just want to go see it. I want to go to the clubhouse, maybe eat there, just experience that. And she's like, no, we'll play. And I was like, I don't think you understand how that works. Like, I'm not just going to go jump on St. Andrews. So we're just going to go experience the ambiance.
Whiskey shot for me there, would you?
I will. You're a connoisseur of that. You're gonna have to tell me what I'm gonna have to try.
No, I'm just a connoisseur of wine, not whiskey. So it'll be.
Do you have your own wine yet?
No.
Why don't you have your own wine yet?
Because
I feel like you should by now. Milliken had his own whiskey. Duckett's got his own whiskey.
Yeah, but you can just go put your name. You just pay somebody.
Oh, okay.
You buy one barrel from somebody and you can put your logo on it and do all that. I just haven't got that far. I just enjoy drinking everybody else's wine.
I feel like that needs to be a career goal. I feel like when it is time for you to retire, unless you pull a clun, which you very might, because I know you guys are tight. I feel like on the day you retire, you need to be able to pop the cork on a Reese bottle of wine from Vineyard. I think that'd be a good goal.
27 Reese Fishing Cabernet, that is aged for 23 years.
I think that would be awesome. So you mentioned the age 40. I don't even know how I still am in existence of this, but I have a mint condition, and this is going to kind of lead back into, I want to talk old school and new school, because I mean, you've won a lot in your career. You also just won most recently, inducted into the Hall of Fame this year. Congratulations, by the way. I should have introduced you as Hall of Famer Skeet Reese, and we'll get into that. But I have a mint condition copy of Parade magazine. When was the last time you saw that?
I actually have one hanging up. I don't know if I got one in my shop. I don't think I have one in the office here. But But dude, that is cool. That is mint condition. Look at that. Mine does not look that nice.
Yeah, it's from the Herald and Review insert. So that parade, when it came out, it was in every single insert in every single newspaper in America.
I think if I recall right, that was 80 million copies. That might be far-fetched. It was the most circulated piece of content on bass fishing printed in the history of bass fishing, I believe. That parade magazine reached more households than any other magazine. It was crazy because and Harlan Coben, who wrote that. So if you're familiar with the writer Harlan, so he's got like 987,000 novels he's written. And so I still keep in touch with Harlan after we wrote that piece, and he rode with me. It was fun.
Really? Yeah. So he jumped in the boat with you for a day.
Yeah.
Was it like during an official day of practice, or was it just in like a show me what you do type? Do you remember that day?
Show me what you do. So we went out fishing for a day and just, he just rode around and, he just gathered all his content, did his research. And, but yeah, super cool dude. Harlan's awesome. Love him. That dude gets around. It's crazy on how many millions of copies of books he has sold.
I was unaware of that. Here's an excerpt from it. You've never been on a bass boat before, have you? Skeet asks, a half smile on his face. I'm barely able to shake my head no when he peels out, going 70 plus miles an hour. No windshield, no protection, body slamming me into my seat. We travel so fast, I can't open my eyes. My face feels as if the wind shear will strip off my skin. Up until that moment, I had thought that tournament fishing, even a major event such as this one, would involve tossing in a hook, watching a cork bob, and cracking open a PBR, Pabst Blue Ribbon. Man, was I wrong. It's a really well-written article. I remember when that came out, like I said, that's from the Herald and Review article in Decatur, Illinois, but that was Sunday, March 14th, 2010. That was 14 years ago.
Wow.
Because in this, you were 40 years old.
Well,
like most top anglers, Skeet 40 is a remarkable athlete. In a typical day of competition, he burns 3,600 calories, the same as if you would run 23 miles at a 12-minute a mile pace. Anyway, I thought
that seemed kind of like a stretch there, but who knows?
Yeah, I thought. Remember,
calorie thing. I know the calorie thing is real. I mean, that's what we burn, of course, a day of fishing is pretty intense.
Do you remember the dude? I unfortunately can't remember his name. He has passed since then, I believe. But yeah. he was always throwing heart monitors on you guys out there.
Gosh, why can't I remember his name?
He had the bars. You'd get like a Ziploc that would have like some elk bars in it. Yeah, Ken. It was Ken, wasn't it?
Ken. Yeah, it is Ken. Ken was his last name. Dang it.
Hoover. Ken Hoover?
No, I don't think
wasn't.
Maybe. Dang it. But yeah, he got a bunch of anglers to sign up for his meal program and nutrition program. And Aaron was big into that. Martin's for a while. Yep. Just said, bro, dude.
I would always get Kelly Jordan's turkey sticks because he was not a fan of the turkey sticks that came in those packs. Okay, let's talk about what's going on now because you got a lot of stuff going on now. And then we'll take a break, and then I want to talk about some old stuff that I find interesting, and hopefully you will too. But first of all, congratulations on the 2024 Bass Fishing Hall of Fame induction. I know that's been a couple months, but it's just a couple months from being at the Wonders of Wildlife, Johnny Morris's Palace, the #1 aquarium in the world. Has that sunk in? Are you looking forward to it? What does that mean? A little bit of context now that the shock is worn off, or is this something that's just, well, yeah, I mean, I expected to be in there the whole time. That's why I've dedicated my life to this.
Yeah, as far as the anticipation, I think it's sinking in more and more as we're getting closer to it. I think early on, I was like, yeah, Hall of Fame, yeah. But realizing the magnitude of it now and really kind of, it's made me reflect on what I've done in the sport for the last 30 years. Not just from a tournament standpoint, but from a sport itself and the business side of it. And so as we're getting closer to this, then I'm like, oh shit. This is going to be interesting, because being in a room full of people that have impacted my life from childhood to now is going to be super powerful. It's going to be emotional. I'm going to be a train wreck, I think, but just my peers. I mean, look at Johnny Morris is going to be there, and Bill Dance and Rick Clunn. Kevin Van Dam. He's the one that nominated me for the Hall of Fame, which I'm honored that Kevin was the one to put my name on the ballot. Coming from the GOAT himself. So all these peers in the room, plus my family, and I'm bringing a whole entourage. I think I have 40 people coming.
Oh wow!
People that took me under their wing and just helped put me on the straight path when I was 20 years old, and gave me a job that impacted my life when I was in a bass club. And so I have this whole process of people coming through my life and sponsors that I'm bringing in, and they're all part of the reason that I'm being inducted into the Hall of Fame. And so I want to recognize all those people. Just having them there hopefully is enough, but getting up and giving a speech and looking at Rick Clunn, my inspiration, is like, dude, really? Writing a speech. I still got to write my speech. I haven't got that far yet. And I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I'm not one that actually reads a speech. I mean, I'll probably give myself bullet points, and then I'll be a train wreck and just go in different directions, and it'll be an emotional roller coaster. Everybody's be like, where the hell is he going with this? But it's just the way I do it.
That's insane. Is Rick going to be at your table or next to you, or have you even figured that you even get an opportunity?
I don't know the seating yet. I just know that I've got however many tables I got for 40 some odd people, and I don't know where Rick's at. So,
how often do you still talk to him?
Not often enough. I mean, it's he's busy and he's still fishing, and I don't fish with bass anymore, so I don't get to see him. And hang out in the parking lots and talk early morning conversations, life conversations in the morning. But it's still, I mean, I try to, I just sent him a text the other day, happy birthday. So
he texts.
Well, I don't know if he actually is doing the texting, but
okay, I don't know. Hey, I know that he's embraced the forward-facing technology. He wants to win one on it. Like, he's all about it. He's got Cody Huff that's kind of been showing him the rope. So, heck, I don't know. He might be into FaceTime for all I know. He seems like he stays up with the times pretty good.
He's still there.
I've got the right here. It sits right here. This was the only time that I have ever waited in line to purchase something and then waited in line to get an autograph of an angler. And it's the Rick Clunn hat, and then I had him autograph it. That's awesome. It was the coolest thing, because at the Classic this past year, he had a line that was like a half hour long. And everybody wanted to talk to him, and he sat there and was talking. It boggles my mind that he's done this for 50 years, Skeet. 50.
I know, this is because I'm looking at it, I was like, all right, I guess since my club tournament, but yeah, I've been fishing for going on 30 years, and I'm like, dude, he's been doing it like 50. And yeah, he's just a beast. I mean, he's like a freak of nature, because just to be able to, how he's been able to chunk and wind and cast as many times as he has in his career without massive surgeries and issues. I mean, I know he's getting old. He's he's frail. Shit's going on, but but dude, nobody's cast and wound more baits in 50
Great
years.
point. I mean, it's not like he's been dragging a freaking Carolina rig all over the humps. Like he's the one. Would you say he's the first like preeminent power fisherman? Like, was there anyone before him that was that aggressive?
For sure. I mean, there was guys there were some specialists, but I mean, whether it was a crankbait or a spinnerbait or a topwater bait, Rick was moving, period.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was his strength, was 100% power fishing. And he would grab a jig once in a while and and Dave Glebe was like, dude, you got to have a jig in your hand. And, Rick would flip back then. But for the most part, I mean, I think he's the OG of power fishing.
Yeah. And he throws a chatterbait in now every once in a while.
Yeah.
Dude,
it's all this moving, man. It's
no, I just realized that. Did you intentionally model your style after Rick Clunn? Because that's your style, dude. Like, think about it. All the different Lucky Crafts. You won a classic on a spinnerbait. You're always moving, cranking, winding. Like, look how you won on the James River this past month. It's very Clunn-esque in the style and the baits and how you like to fish.
I just thought it was because I was ADD. So,
but is it not? Like, when you look at it objectively, like,
I don't know. I don't. Growing up fishing Clear Lake in the Delta, so I grew up flipping around D. Thomas, so I probably won more money flipping early on than I did anything in my career. So, flipping was probably my most solid technique in my arsenal that I had. But then I also became pretty proficient at chunking and winding and fishing Clear Lake and covering water. So that was me. I mean, it wasn't throwing a shaky head or back then we were split shotting. So I wasn't throwing a split shot up at Lake Shasta. That's not what I wanted to be doing. So I was going to be just burning a top water bait or something like that. And so I don't know if Rick was the one that actually I modeled after. It's how I grew up fishing around Northern California and how I liked catching them, and just progressed from there.
And then to get the BPT win, obviously been on the Bass Pro Tour since 2019. And it seems like every once in a while you'll just rack out like an insanely good year like you did on those invitationals a couple years ago when you had that second place finish with the win and 4 top 10s. And you go to the James River, and it seems like that was a really emotional win for you, Skeet.
Oh, it was, hands down. Obviously, every win you get, you never know if you're going to get another one. So when you get one, especially at 55 years old, with today's competition and the technology, everything's going on. So we know that the opportunities, the windows for the wins are few and far between. And that, since the Bass Pro Tour was created and that group of anglers assembled, it's until forward facing sonar. I mean, you got Dustin and Jacob that just make us all look stupid because they got a technique down that hasn't been embraced. I mean, you got a 40-year history of fishing in here. All these guys just has transitioned along, and all of a sudden now there's a couple guys. But to be able to compete against the group of guys that I do, that's something I've wanted to win one against that group since day one. So it's just, I want to win no matter where I'm at, no matter what I'm doing. That's why I play the game. I don't do this for second place. I do this to win. And so that's something that's been on my radar and has been on my bucket list since day one, is I wanted to be able to win a Bass Pro Tour event against that group of guys. And to be able to do it is like, shit. Yeah. It's like, I did it. So I still got it. I can still do it. And I've got a W that it'll be just help. And I mean, it doesn't mean nothing for the Hall of Fame or I'm going to have another trophy in the case in here that I get to look at but it's real. It's all self-driven. I think every competitor, doesn't matter what sport you're in, it's just about achieving your own personal goals. And to be able to do that, that was emotional. I was like, wow. It's like, I did it.
Had you at some point questioned yourself over the past couple of years? You mentioned the dominance of Wheeler and Connell. I mean, you don't have to look very far to look at a new generation of anglers that are doing some pretty off the wall things that are dominating guys that have a lot of titles and championships in history under their belt. Like, was there that question of, do I have to reinvent myself? Can I stick with what I'm doing? Do I still have the ability to win in this new era that we're kind of all living through right now at the top level of professional bass fishing?
Absolutely. 100%. So we look at, I think every sport transitions. There's always the young coming in because they're hungry. They always want what, those above them have. And so, yeah, I was that young guy that came in. I was hungry and determined, and being able to achieve the highest level of sport. I got there, did it, but I've been able to maintain a position in the sport for a long time. That there's a lot of young guys. I mean, they're aiming. That's what they want. And they want that. Yeah, they want to be in a position that I've been in and Kevin's been in. And so it's just like, it doesn't matter. It's basketball, baseball, football, lacrosse. It doesn't matter. There's out with the old, in with the new. And so you always wonder, when is your time going to be up? When are you done? Because mentally, that's what's interesting. Is like mentally, physically, I feel as strong and mentally prepared now as I did 10 years ago, but the results still haven't showed it. So you're like, why? What the hell? Why can't I? Dude, I don't feel any different. I can't say I'm like, oh no, I don't have any excuses, because I'm like, oh, my back's messed up, or I can't cast as much as I used to, or I don't fish as hard. BS. I still feel like I could run circles around most of these guys out there. From a physical standpoint, and mentally, I feel like I have all the tools necessary. So, but to not see the results to come with it is like, why can't I cross that barrier? And I look at the last few years on the BPT. Obviously it's a different format, and I still attribute that it's like the format of fishing is different than what I grew up and how I made my career. Fishing 5-fish limits is a hell of a lot easier. It's it's 5-fish limits easy, because I can fish for 5 bites. If I get lucky and get a couple big bites.
I mean, you can't argue with that if you look at your 5-fish limit history. It was fairly easy for you for a long period of time, Skeet.
But apparently, so you get into this numbers thing, and then it's just a different world. So to be able to know that, I think it's a mental thing. So it's sports in general are mental, and you'd look at Federer, you look at Tiger Woods, Tom Brady, you look at Kevin Van Dam. Their mental process and approach to a sport is different than most. And so tournament fishing to me is always a mental game. And so how do you be better mentally than everybody else on the water? And skill wise, there's tons of guys that are great at lots of techniques, but this decision making is what separates the average from the greats. And I look right now, Jacob Wheeler, he's the best decision maker we have in the sport right now. His tournament IQ is through the roof, which is phenomenal. So to see, that's cool, but I still want that. And, I'm still fighting for it. And so to be able to have a tournament that fit my strengths, and I had a strategy and a game plan going into that event that I thought if everything worked right, then I could have a good event. And then it's very seldom do you ever think you're going to win. You're trying to build the best game plan you can to have the best event you can. And usually things evolve. Like, it's like, oh, I got a spot, very seldom does a spot ever win. And it's usually always having to make adaptations, and you're adjusting and adding new water and deleting water. And so that tournament, I had a strategy and a game plan going into it. And it just evolved as the tournament went on, and I was able to adjust and adapt, and things happened at the right times, but my overall strategy worked. So that part feels good. So it's like, all right, you still got it, old man.
At what point did you had Sprague track you down? We're showing some of the highlights from MLF. They do a great job of putting up round highlights after each one. But at what point did you it seemed like you were really nervous and then really relieved?
I was, because I was like, well, it's like through the second period, I'm like, dude, I got this thing dicked.
Yeah, like you had a lead.
I'm like, whatever, we're good. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, well, it was down to 17-pound lead. Oh, down to 15, down to 12. I'm like, well, crap, stop. I got to catch a couple. And then all of a sudden it's, when I got down to single digit lead, I'm like, and there's still almost an hour, 45 minutes left. I'm like, crap. It's like, I gotta get on them. And I made a couple, I had 2 areas that I wanted to go to. And I was like, well, let me go back to where I think I can catch, 2 or 3 fish. I thought for sure my last stop, I was going to catch 2 or 3 fish. No problem. Tide was good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to jack them. No problem. I got this. And when I got there and I made a little hot lap through the area and I didn't catch one, I'm like, uh-oh. And then, it's down to 20 minutes. That last 20 minutes sucked. Because literally, it's like I'm doing the best I can do at the moment. And to hear that, okay, Sprague's got another one. And when it got down to like 3 pounds and 14 ounces or whatever separation, I'm like, no. I'm like, don't tell me I'm going to lead this thing all day long. And this is going to slip away in like the last couple minutes of the day. And I'm like, I was stressing out. I was like, come on, no, don't do this. And so I was a mess. I mean, you got the opportunity. I mean, that's what's great about that format on the Major League Fishing, the Bass Pro Tour, is because you know where you stand. I mean, you have a real-time scoreboard, so you can make adjustments according to what your competition does, because you know exactly, okay, well, I've got a 12-pound lead, or I got a deficit. I can't keep doing what I'm doing because I know I got to catch so-and-so. He's got an 18-pound lead on me. So it's just like a football game. You got to call an audible, or baseball. It's like, no, you got to change your lineup to adjust to the score of the game. So you get to do that without knowing the score and actual weights. It plays on you. So it can either take you out mentally, because a lot of guys, when you're on that cut line, you're like, oh shit, it's real. Because it creates, I mean, I would love to know the blood pressure, heart rates for a lot of these guys that are on these cut lines.
Oh, MLF needs to do that. You guys need to do that.
That would be good. Oh,
why not do that? Do that. Here's the
awesome.
2 things they need to do. And Lucas is on board with this. We're going to have him on tomorrow at 7 a.m., not 8:30, 7. Is the graduated weights like heavy hitters at every Bass Pro Tour event. So you start in the first 2 rounds with 2 pounds. Then the knockout round is 2 1/4, and then the final round is 2 1/2. So you get your numbers and your quality in every event, not just heavy hitters, and then put the heart rate monitors on. And then could you imagine Chad in the 3-piece suit in there talking about your heart rate monitor as now you're trying to catch a 3-pounder instead of saying, oh, he needs to catch 2 more and he looks nervous. Dude, you can make that happen. Make that happen.
Heart rate 187.
Make that happen, Skeet. Make that happen on the BPT.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because I was watching the Olympics and they had a heart rate monitor on a dad in the stand.
I saw that.
And I'm like, dude, he's going to blow up.
He was at 180 the whole time.
Yeah, he was 180 something. I'm like, he's just sitting there. Like, so that, I love that. That's a great idea.
You could just have it up in the corner. And then you could totally get like
who's
some
cool under pressure and who's not.
You could totally get some sort of like health thing sponsor for that. Yes. That would like throw some in to be like, the whatever heart rate deal.
Yeah. And then he's so like, all right, so this dude, he needs a Valium to keep his heart rate down or something. Oh, that would be interesting to know everybody's heart rate.
All right, we're going to take a break. Before we do, though, walk me through the progression to get to Reese fishing, because Mark Jeffries just moved. He's also a grandpa now. So shoot him a text eventually. Congratulate Mark on being a grandpa. And he's a head bowl. I don't know when the last time you talked to Mark was. He's a head bowling coach.
I think I talked to him. I don't know if it was this year or last year. I forget.
And so he does hoard some old school stuff. So he's still got all of the original quantum color coded rods. So like, remember, Grigsby was blue, Biffle was dark blue, Rojas was red, KVD was that crimson. And then he's got 6 in the box, never before used Revo SKTs with the yellow accents on them. They were like the high end $250.
Dude, that's a big paddle reel right there.
The big paddle handle on it. They weigh like 8 ounces. Anyway, that I think was your first foray into like signature series equipment. if I'm not mistaken.
No, I mean, I was in it before that, but that was my first reel.
Yeah, first reel.
Yeah.
And then you had the Skeet Reese rods that everybody at that point in time either had a yellow or a white rod on the water. And then it seems like you've kind of, where are you like now? Like, do you own, like, is this your company now? Like Reese Fishing?
Yep. That's it. So, yeah, I started with Lamaglass rods when I was 16 years old.
I still have one of those.
And so then I did, I don't know what year it was or how old I was, but I wound up doing the signature series of rods. It was primarily a West Coast brand.
Mm-hmm.
But the fiberglass crankbait rod I did with them wound up being like one of their best selling rods. And so I was with Lamaglass for 20 years. And Wright McGill came along and they approached me as far as doing a hook program with Trocar. And in the meeting of that process of our meeting and figuring out the hook contract, and I asked them if they were interested in doing any signature rods, just something a little bit larger scale, because Lamaglass they had dropped the ball and weren't doing much, and they weren't really aggressive in the bass world. So they're like, yes. So we created the Skeet Reese signature rods at Wright McGill, which became probably one of the most recognizable rod lines in the industry in a long time. I mean,
dude, it was obnoxious. Every single person that you drive past just would have a yellow rod in the air.
I know. I love it. It was
because they were like really affordable too.
Yeah. So I think it was, you had St. Croix that had the Mojo series, and then we came out with the Skeet Reese rods that were technique specific and $89, and we disrupted the industry big time with that one. So the mass placement, and so it was a fun program. I mean, we sold a ton of rods, had a great time with it. I made a bunch of money, which is great. But in the end, they realized that they didn't realize, they said they were a hook company and they don't want to take the Skeet Reese brand any further. They didn't put any more money into it. And so it kind of just started fading out. And so I wound up just saying, oh, you know what, okay, you guys don't want to, play, then I'll go do my own thing. And so I wound up, they didn't want to do a rod program, and they didn't want to pay for a hook program. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna leave you guys completely. And then Reese Fishing is my own brand. It's something I've been looking at doing for the last 4 years, I guess. And it's been a 2-year project. It's really been a 3-year project right now. And getting it going, it's taken way longer to get things up and running than I anticipated. And I'm really good at product development. I know what I like. I know it works for me, and typically what works for me works and transcends to the consumer. But the back end business, this is like a whole nother learning curve for me. So having an IT team to help build websites and dealing on the manufacturing side. There's so many details that I was oblivious to. So my learning curve has been pretty. Yeah, I'm shoveling a whole lot of shit right now trying to figure this out. Because
you enjoy it though, like you like the challenge.
I do, because I mean, I know my end goal. My passion is that I know product, I know what I like, I know what works. And so I love product development. I mean, my whole career has been based on product development. I mean, from designing rods and lures and boats and reels. And so I've had my hands in a lot of things, but this project is way more intimate because I'm the brand. So, part of it is I look at it, I'm not going to probably be Rick, and I'm not going to fish till I'm 80 years old. But I want to have something that I can continue to build and grow whenever my time is done on tour. But this is something I've been wanting to do for a while. And, we come out with Next One series. So you can see the rods back here. These are Next Ones, and you get the choice of black or yellow in the first series of rods. Yeah, right there. So you get, there's that. My favorite one there and the most popular is Hog Snatcher. So
that's Aaron, right?
Yeah, that's Aaron's rod right there
with the purple on it.
Yep. But next two is my pride and joy. This is why I can't. It's not up yet, but it should be here this fall. I have spent a lot of time designing this series. So I've actually engineered my own handles, my own reel seats, and which most people in the industry just, you got a whole catalog of parts and pieces out there that everybody buys from. And so I have actually, I have paid engineers and I've done all this to engineer my own handles, my own reel seats for next two that I'm super excited. I got a story. This is when they come out. I'm fired up because they're badass. I mean, next one is amazing, but the next one, this is what you see back here. This was a continuation. I want to be able to offer something to however million rod consumers bought Skeet Reese rods before. This basically a continuation of those rods, just way improved. So these, the actions are very similar, but upgraded components, better reel seats, better graphites, better guides all the way around. But it's still, if you love the shaky head Cinco rod, then the Mule is a replacement for that. If you liked, the Carolina rig or the swim bait rod, then Fire replaces that. So this was just, beta for all the people that have said, I love Skeet Reese rods. Where do I get them? I can't get them. So I want to make sure that we got these out there for everybody. Then next two is coming out soon. So it's a lot of work. So it's my life has been very full for the last 2 years.
I heard like a wild rumor about your royalties with the Wright McGill, and like I was with some dude one time, and every time we passed, he goes, every time you see one of those, that Skeet made X number of dollars. And I just did some math on it, and I was like, dude, if that number is true, like you freaking cleaned house on those yellow rods with Wright McGill.
I'm not complaining.
Yeah, it was nuts. So then the other thing, I know we're supposed to go to a break, but I can't stop this continuation of the thought. And if you have to go, I told you 40 minutes. We're 42 minutes in, Skeet. Let me know.
Are we already?
Yeah, let me know when you have to go, because I'm good. I'm good. Okay. So it just occurred to me. So we just had a little chat, kind of a pre-show chat about kind of where the industry is, where it's going in regard to product and sales, and not good or bad, just realities of it. And you're in this like twofold. So you're in this as an angler that's watching this this change in techniques, in tackle, in what's winning the majority of the tournaments across the board, regardless of where you fish. But you're also in it deep in you've got 1, 2, 3, 4. You've got eight models currently right now, and I'm seeing the majority of these tournaments being won on like 1 or 2 of these models. So that's got to be an interesting dynamic from the business side and the angler side, as we see the Minnow and the Nico and whatever Taku and Koya decide to throw on a given week win these tournaments, as opposed to like, a Carolina rig rod or a swim bait rod here or a flipping rod. Is that something that's on your radar very much right now?
Oh, absolutely. You look at, so we're seeing this transition in the marketplace right now in tackle sales, where historically fishing tackle sales, bait casting, it would be 7 to 3. So 7 bait casting to 3 spinning reels sold historically over the last 30 years. And where now it's just the opposite. It's 7 spinning to 3 casting.
Wow.
But then the spinning has narrowed down to just, obviously just 2 or 3 SKUs models, where casting would have been 8 or 9 models or 10 models that would have sold. But we're seeing this transition for sure. We can have a long conversation about this right now, as far as, the impact of it on the sport. But I know for myself, we are looking, they are conversations like, okay, we have this whole series of rods. So I got next 2 is 23 model SKUs. But how many of them are going to be, they're going to be the heart and soul? There's going to be half a dozen of them in there. They're going to be the heart and soul of the line. And So you have to think about, dollars spent, where you spend, what model you buy, heavy, or do you cancel some models because nobody flips anymore? What do you do? So it'll be interesting, but I don't, I've always been for forward-facing sonar. I mean, I'll just get it out there. But the reality of it right now, it's hurting our sport. Whether we like it or not, we're seeing a 20% reduction in tournament fishing across the country because of it. You're going to see tackle companies go out of business because of it. So you're going to take a $40 billion business and shrink it down to a $5 billion business if we don't put some type of limitations on it, because that's just the fact reality of it. It just, the guys that have fished for the last 40 years, whether they're club tournaments or Tuesday nighters, they don't want to go fish because, that's the kids whooping our ass scoping and that's what's happening. So it's like, it's not fun to them anymore. So that's literally. So if we're already seeing a 20% reduction in tournament participation across the country, what does that mean economically to the industry? And that where nobody's buying crankbaits anymore, they don't buy a Carolina rig anymore, they don't buy a topwater anymore. So the trickle effect of this is going to be interesting to see where it ends up and what it does to tournament organizations, companies, everybody down the road.
Is there a right? I'm not asking for the answer. Do you think there is a solution to this? I'm not asking for it. I'm just asking. Is there one?
So now that I've been part of this industry in sport for so long, and I see where it's at, what it's doing, what I see 10 years from now. I think the best thing to hold true to the sport is that, forward-facing sonar would have to go away.
Completely.
Yep. I wouldn't have said that a year ago. I'm like, hell no, it's new just because it's new. But to see, the data doesn't lie now. So that's the thing. Like, oh gosh, the data shows, whether it's viewership, streaming, numbers drop dramatically when it's a scoping tournament. As far as viewership, it's like, you start looking at all these numbers and all of a sudden now it's like, it's coming down to this. You're like, whoa. So, and maybe there's a compromise. Maybe there is a way to be able to keep it and let the tournament, how do you transition? I don't know what it is. I'm not that smart.
Yeah.
I just know that the analytics don't lie about what's happening to our sport right now. And that scares me, because I don't want to see something that I'm open for change. Change is inevitable, but I don't want to see a sport that I've been part of for 40 years now just all of a sudden just get washed to the side.
And in your opinion, that's currently in jeopardy.
Yes, it is. Yeah, because it's my guy. It's anybody that's fished prior to 2020 fished. They fished whatever it was. If they were specialists, they were worm draggers or power fishermen,
jerkbait guy, cranker.
We had this entire industry out, that was this big, and all those fishermen that participated doing those techniques around the country, especially from clubs and BFLs and Toyotas and Opens, whatever, they're all just fishermen. So now it's we're those guys that because you can't beat a scoper. If it's a scope event, you're not going to beat them, because we're fishing for fish now that have never been fished for. And so there is no fish that's off limits or you just can't find now. So you just find the right fish, you can't beat them. So we realize, the great thing is that what's exciting is we realized, for me, is that we know so little about how these fish have lived all these years.
I know, right?
I mean, everything, all the articles we've written in Bassmaster and all the TV shows and videos and all that stuff's still true. everything we've done up to this point, there is patternable fish that do this with this situation. But now we're seeing like, well, hell, there's a whole nother percentage of fish that just lives out in the lake roaming, chasing bait. And you're like, we just never had access to those before.
You know what's interesting to me, Skeet? You're one of the first people that I've talked to that I've had on the show who there's no like malice, like there's no anti. It's just kind of matter of fact. Like you're not for or against it. You're just stating what you've seen over the last 30 years of the industry.
Yeah.
Like I mean, and you've got an electronics company on your jersey as well.
Yeah, it's
interesting. It's scary.
It is. So I think most people, which is 99.9% of the people that fish, have no comprehension of the business and the backside of the business and the analytics of our sport. These people know they like to fish, and they like watching fishing, and they like watching a scoper or they don't like watching a scoper. And, but yeah, I think when for me, being so close to the business on the back end of the sport from all different levels, I have probably a broader view of what's happening, and for me, it's scary as hell right now. Because I see that if something's not done, what happens to our sport 5 years down the road? Because is there enough high school and college kids coming up through the ranks to sustain the industry beyond 2030? I don't know.
God, the ones that are coming up, they'll be like have 15 tour wins by 2030. The kids who are
and they're good. I mean, these guys are like.
Yeah. I mean, dude, I've talked in depth with them too, and they're like, yeah, well, the crankbait's done, and now you're going to have $10,000 worth of jig heads and minnows and scope baits, and just like we don't throw a jitterbug anymore because you got the Sammy that came out, or you don't throw the snagless Sally because you got the hollow-bodied frog. Like, hey, there's going to be this transition period where there's a dip, but it always corrects itself, and this is just going to be the way it is with the forward-facing sonar stuff. And you talk to them, and you're like, "Oh, well, yeah, you're right. Frickin' adjust or die, old man." But then you talk to the people. It's such a double-edged sword.
It is, and that's a tough conversation. It really is. And I was on the bandwagon for if you didn't embrace it, then you were just going to get left behind. So that's just because change is inevitable. So look, I'm really open-minded about a lot of things, and I think that I like to think I'm pretty level-headed with this kind of stuff. But I'm just trying to, in my head, I'm trying to weigh the balance of what's with where the sport has been for 50 years, because that's our sport has only been 50 years old. So, can this new generation carry this industry? And it's not just about just change in competitive fishing, what happens to the bigger picture of the industry? That's all. I mean, I don't want thousands of people's losing their jobs. I don't want to see tackle stores closing down. I don't want to see TV shows go away. I don't want to see tournament organizations go under because fishing's not fun to people anymore. So that's where I'm at and trying to process. Okay, what is the best? Fair.
But God, it is fun when you see a big blob charge up to your stuff. And
no doubt about it.
I mean, dude, I've giggled more over the last 2.5, 3 years than I ever giggled before on the water. Like, oh my God, did you see that?
Right. But
I understand, but is it instant gratification to delay inevitable mortality? Or is it like you're going to have a bunch of guys that get together and say what is best for the health of the sport, not what is best for me right now this year?
Right. And that's what I think is,
that's been hard for fishing to do. I mean, you've been in that position too, dude. Like in your career, you're a 1%er. Like the very top, like you've had to make some tough decisions and everyone's an individual LLC. You're competing against other people. You want to do what's best for you now, what gives you, it's a weird situation.
It is. So that's that. And we'll see where it goes. I know at least for myself that somebody could listen to this tomorrow and fire me. I don't care. It doesn't affect my life. I've already achieved what I wanted to achieve, and I can do that. So I am able to not worry about.
Yeah.
I don't have to be selfish anymore and just trying to figure out, okay, how am I going to make Skeet Reese Incorporated profitable so my kids can go to school and all that. I've done that. So now it's like, all right, if I take bullets, I take bullets. I mean, whatever. It's, I just want what's best for the sport. I mean, I'm open. Yeah. It's like, I'm not going to lie. Is it fun? Just to, I enjoy more for crappie fishing. Clearly crappie fishing is stupid in the wintertime. It's like,
do you have any of the 16-foot rods?
No, but I got a 710 rod I make.
No. Skeet. You got to call me after this. I got to get you on to, it's like punching mats on the Delta for crappie. 16-foot heavy rod. You're using 20-pound fluoro or 30-pound braid. You set your stuff up to see 20 feet out in front. You've got a 16-foot rod. You literally drop it on their nose. You watch them come up to it. And when they hit them, you just boom, crack them with the 16-foot rod. It's power fishing for Magnum crappie.
But I'm having so much fun because I make a 7'10" spinning rod that's with 4-pound line on it. It's freaking so fun. Just firing a little micro jig out there. Just dink.
Yeah, you guys are a little bit different stuff out there.
Yeah, but
don't you have giant black crappie out in California?
I got like a 2-pound average we're catching.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's fun.
Dude, this is a 2-parter. I don't even want to get into the rest of the stuff. I'll throw some of your stats out from 7 to 10 when I get back. But I mean, you got a lot to take care of. Are you like all in? I know, weren't your daughters all in on like haven't you done the women's national team tour? Is that a big deal in the Reese family still, the Olympic Games?
Oh gosh, women's national soccer team. We constantly watching it. So we've traveled, gone to World Cups and U.S. women's soccer games around the country. And I got one daughter. She's actually in Indonesia right now, going doing an internship there after she went up there after our Bali trip. And got one, the youngest, Courtney. She's getting ready to go to Montana State University coming up, and so we're
How'd you decide on Montana State from California?
Well, I got one in San Diego. Leah's actually, so she goes down to Point Loma in San Diego. And then Courtney's a mountain girl. She likes snow and snowboards and horses. And that's what she likes. So, but it's amazing campus. Oh my gosh, that school's gorgeous up there in Bozeman, Montana.
What I wanted to get into, which I won't, was when you showed up to your spot that day and the cows were in it. You remember that?
Yes, I do.
Will you come back soon for a part 2? Because I would love to hear about that. Like, all you had to do was go catch like a decent bag. You had to finish 4th, and you beat Kevin, and you won the Angler of the Year and the Classic in the same year. And you roll up to this stretch on the Alabama River, and there's like 70 cows that are up to their neck, literally on the stretch that you planned on smoking them on with the spotted bass on a top water.
Yeah. Thanks for bringing that up, by the way.
Well, here's what I still remember about it. You still fished it.
Hey, when you have nothing else, when you guys like, well, shit, what am I going to fit? I don't know. That's my best spot right there.
I just remember Harold Allen was there, and he's like, Matthew, there's a 50% chance Skeet hooks a cow on this cast.
Yeah. I never caught a fish there. So, yeah, that was... Yeah, that Kevin still got 2 of my Angler of the Year titles. So
that was a screwy format right there.
I win the regular season points 2 years. and they go to postseason. I lose it to Kevin both years. So.
Yeah, that was interesting. And then the other one I remember was that same tournament, and I still think about, if we have pets that get in the screen, you have to show them. So you got a cat to your left there.
There.
Oh, very nice.
That's Taz.
I remember you skipped a jig under a dock. I still think about this every time I smoke a valuable vessel in a marina.
Shit. What'd I do on this one?
You skipped a jig like with gusto under a pontoon, and you just dead centered the float. And I remember it made the loudest noise ever. And you turned and said, "Boy, it'll be a miracle if I catch." Whack. And do you remember that?
Now that you say that, I do remember that.
You hit it so loud, it reverberated. And as you were saying that you'll never get a bite, you smoked a good one.
I do remember that. Forgot about that.
So now every time I'm skipping and I hit it, even if I hit, a dock, a pontoon or something, I still fish it out because I think of that time. I think, well, maybe, it doesn't matter.
I don't know if I've caught one after in a pontoon boat since that. So
I just remember that was
doing and like, forget it.
Yeah. All right, Skeet, I appreciate it. What's next on your schedule? You guys go up north to close the season out.
St. Lawrence. So finish the season out on St. Lawrence. And
what's the minimum weight on that one?
It's probably just 2 pounds. I think it should be. I mean, that's been our 2 pounds.
That should be graduated weight. Wouldn't that be awesome? Graduated weight. Opening rounds 2, then 2.5 for the knockout, then 3 pounds. Like a 3 pound, like that. I would like that for the finals. You make the top 10, weigh in as many of those 3 pound suckers as you want. And when the 6 comes up 110 yards behind the boat, I want to know what your damn heart rate is.
I do love the heart rate monitor thing. That would be.
Oh, could you imagine a heart rate monitor on a guy throwing a hair jig? Oh, dude, one of those big giant ones comes up behind and starts tracking it, and it goes from just do.
All right, well,
and then you would also know who's a stone cold killer.
Well, that's what I was saying before. It's like, man, who's got ice in their veins or not, man, because it's like heart rate goes up like 2 points, and then they got me that'd be up there like it'd go from 120 to 187.
Yeah.
And
I feel like Andy Montgomery would dominate the heart rate monitor.
I think you're right on that one. Yeah, I would. And like Cole Floyd is like, no, just
Faircloth still. He's always just like Faircloth. I don't even know if his pulse would register. It wouldn't even register.
He's dead.
He would have I bet he has the heartbeat of like a Galapagos tortoise. Just twice. He's gonna have like one of those deals. Like, who was that horse that had like an extra valve in his heart and then he won? Was it like Secretariat or whatever?
Oh, that's right.
When he won, they're gonna find I have never seen Todd Faircloth excited at all over his 15 wins. Now, not happy, not satisfied, but excited. Have you ever seen him excited?
I don't know if I ever have.
And you've known him for what, 20 plus years?
Yeah. I see him smile.
Yeah.
But I've never seen him.
Yeah,
get
Faircloth and Montgomery win the heart rate monitor.
That's quite possible.
All right, I appreciate it, Ski. If you ever come out with your own wine, I will buy a bottle. I'll put it in the background.
All right. Well, I never say never in anything. Anything's possible. Well, you got a lot of stuff in there,
dude. I got live well water from Jordan Lee's second classic. That right before he went in, I had him do a bottle of water, and then I had a witness as I taped it shut, and then I went to a notary public. So that water was in the live well before he won as he ran into the final round to win the classic. So that was in his live well when he won the classic. I got the Rick stuff. I've got a Zell Rollin line ball. That was pretty cool. I
got Ike and Ellie's beard.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I do.
Can you show it to me?
Yeah.
Mike Iaconelli's beard?
Yeah.
How did you come about with that?
His goatee. He had a goatee.
Oh my other way. It's reverse. Oh my gosh. That is Mike Iaconelli's beard. Did
Yeah,
you make the background and everything?
That's his goatee right there.
Yep. No, I see it.
And it was a fundraiser. He cut it off, did a fundraiser, and
You bought it.
I bought it. I think I paid $1,000 for his goatee.
Oh, that was well worth it.
Yeah. I got some other weird shit, but that might be one of the weird ones.
Nah, that's pretty weird. I think it's hard to beat that one.
Yeah. And then
hey,
we have an auction, so I had my mullet competition this year. So anybody want
other way? Where are you
that was from my mullet this year. So
where are you auctioning that?
I haven't done it yet, but we might.
What are you auctioning it for?
Money.
Whatever.
I don't know.
I don't know. I'm not gonna lie, Skeet, like that. I don't know if I want that in the studio.
Why?
That might just cross the line.
You want to see something cool?
Yeah, definitely.
All right. I mean, I'm like you. I got all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. I've got a 2000. Look at this right
here. So here's a Lucky Craft bait.
Okay. Other way.
I know it's all screwed. So a Lucky Craft SKT Magnum bait I
designed. Yep.
All right. So this might be one of the coolest things I've had anybody do. So my dad passed away 4 years ago, and so Minoru from Lucky Craft. I gotta figure out how to open the damn thing first.
Yeah, don't break it.
So he made these, but on the inside.
Other way.
Damn it. So
dude,
this is actually my screensaver on here. This is
my gosh.
This is a sunset. This was like the last family get together we had. So this is my brothers on the outside. Here's my dad. There's my dad. There's me. We're there, brothers. So we're on a sunset at Point Arena Lighthouse on the west coast of California. My dad ran the lighthouse, and I was actually conceived there. And so we had a sunset up there. But here's the cool side, inside the bait. Damn it, this backwards thing is killing me. So there's a picture of me and my dad. My dad.
Dude, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen.
This was the last fish my dad caught. And so it's kind of hard to see in there, but
no, you can see it perfectly
inside the bait. How cool is that?
That's very cool, Skeet.
Yeah. So I figured there's probably not too many people that have lures with pictures of their dads and family inside of them.
No, that's really cool.
What else? There's plenty.
I got you. I got a picture of you.
Do you?
Yeah, right here.
Was I flipping you the bird or anything or what?
No, this was during the 2007 season. I took that picture and then I had you sign it.
Nice.
You're right next to Rick Ash. Remember Rick Ash?
Oh my gosh. That's like going old school, baby.
Yeah, so
Rick Ash. Haven't heard that in.
Get this off without breaking it. So that was back when I thought I might be a photographer. So that was when they had co-anglers. There's Rick on Lake Erie. Can you see that?
Yeah.
There's Rick on Lake Erie. And that co-angler caught that 4.5-pound smallmouth in the air like a football.
That's a great shot.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. Those are the two. I got that. And then I got a little Shaw Grigsby. And then I got Babe Winkleman.
Babe.
Dude, I am a big Babe Winkleman fan. Huge Babe Winkleman fan. I don't know why. I grew up. Every time I get a chance to meet Babe Winkleman, I meet Babe Winkleman.
I don't even know how to respond to that right now.
Do you know Babe Winkleman?
I do know Babe Winkleman. I mean, it's like
he's a beauty, isn't he?
He is. I don't know if I have words for Babe. Like he is. Man, he still shows up in his leather and.
Oh yeah. Are you a signed dollar bill guy?
No, I'm $100 bills.
Oh, well, of course. But I mean, like, who do you have like on your wall signed wise?
I got Kevin or Edwin. I got 100 over here from Edwin.
Oh, that's a good one.
I got 100 up there from Tom Ricks, who was the president of Bass at one time, CEO. I've got 100 from Roy Halladay.
Oh, wow. How'd you get that one? I know he was on the cover of Bassmaster with Skeet Reese Rod and Reel before he passed.
That was my boy right there.
Yeah, that's sad.
Yeah. Dumbass. He had to go and kill himself in a plane crash. So
yeah, that was a sad deal. I think Dano took that photo that was on the cover of a Bassmaster with
him.
Him.
Yeah. That was an interesting. So speaking of wine, so I'm looking at that. That was his gift from the Phillies for pitching a perfect game was to fish with me. And so the day we took that picture, so we spent the night before that there was a winery, one of the Fetzer family owns it. It's called Diego. And so Roy and myself and Brandy, Roy's wife, we stayed at the winery and that night, and then we fished the next day. We got that's the most wine I've ever drank in my life. And the crazy part is because they're all organic, so there's no sulfates in their wine there at that time.
Okay.
There was like no hangover.
Oh, because I was going to say I've been wine hungover one time.
It was the craziest
one time only.
My first experience of a wine with no sulfates in it, and we got absolutely plastered that night. Had a great time.
Felt amazing.
And we both got up the next day. I'm like, because we thought we were going to be like, oh, this is going to be miserable.
What do the sulfates do? Preserve it?
Yeah. So yeah, that's I learned a little bit about wine that one. So then we went out and fished our ass off that day, and it was hard as hell. We caught one fish.
Did he catch that fish that day with you?
No.
Oh, okay. That was a photo op fish.
Well, no, let me think about that.
Or was that a totally different day that he did that on the photo?
No, he did catch that one, because I remember I had him. I had a certain tree that I knew he could catch one on, and I had him throw over that tree. So he did catch that one.
Yeah,
but that was the only one. That's the only one he caught.
That was wild. All right, I'm gonna let you go. I know you're way past time. We're an hour and 12. I do want to mention this. The last time I had you on, I mentioned this too. But you do a lot for people in the industry behind the scenes. You may be a little flashy with the black and yellow and the hair and all that stuff, but you do a lot of stuff for people in the industry behind the scenes without asking for anything, without expecting anything in return, without wanting any accolades for it. Both people are still with us and no longer with us as well. But back in 13, 14, when I was doing that pure fishing thing, I'll never forget. You called when they changed their PR firm, and I was no longer running the pure fishing. I only did it for a year. And you're like, boy, I bet that sucked, but you're making some money doing that. Well, what's your game plan? And you hired me to do some stuff for you for a year. You paid me 10 grand, helped totally swing it for money that I was counting on and wasn't going to get. And I really appreciate that. But what I also always remember is that the time that I spent with you while we were filming, how you treated all of the servers and restaurant owners and hotel hosts and houses that we went to. You remembered every single one of their names. You gave them a signed jersey. I was just up at Waddington last year. That jersey's still hanging up in that restaurant where we ate the perch every single day. And I think that's more of a lasting legacy than anything that you could do on the water.
Well, so I appreciate, thanks for the kind words. But I guess I look at it, just treat people the way you want to be treated. Right.
Yep.
I can be, I'm sure I could be a dick and an asshole when I get off the water. If I don't catch them, I'm pissed off. And, but as a whole, it's like, yeah, I mean, I want people to smile. I want people to be happy. I want people to succeed. And, but mostly just, treat people the way you want to be treated, because I don't want to be treated like a schlep. And so that's it.
Thank you, Skeet. I appreciate it.
Panger, appreciate it. That was fun. Thanks for having me on. So it's only taken you like 14 years to get me on here. So
yeah, well, I texted you in April, didn't get a response. So
no, you didn't.
Yeah, I did. You want me to look at your phone right now?
No, I'm not going to.
Look at your phone right now.
I'm not going to.
Skeet Reese right here. This was before you won, before everything. I said, Skeet, Matt Pangrek here. I'd like to get you on Bass Talk Live if possible. Give me a shout at your convenience. April 11th at 9:40 a.m.
Mine says April 15th, though.
Oh.
Okay. Well, my bad. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, mine says April 15th. No, it's
all
okay.
Right. My bad. Sorry.
I'm just busting your chops. I'm
It's okay. I can handle it.
Probably owe 35 people a call back right now, so I have no room to talk.
Hey, have a great trip, man.
Thanks, Skeet. Thanks, Skeet. Enjoy the rest of the season, and I'll see you at the Hall of Fame.
Thanks, Banger. See you, bud.
All right, later. All right, that is the one and only Skeet Reese. We're going to take a break. When we come back, wrap things up. A lot of good stuff in that long overdue interview with Skeet. So this is BTL. We'll be back right after this.
The new Puma STS has been redesigned from the ground up. With the angler, design, function, and performance in mind, nothing on this new offering was compromised, and the only thing carried over from the previous version is the name. Based on the Soft Touch series hull that started with the flagship Jaguar, this new model is nimble and performs incredibly well at all speeds with either a 250 or 300 horsepower engine. Featuring a new 96-inch wide-body footprint, this hull measures out at 20 foot 7 inches in length. Industry-leading design coupled with tournament-winning performance. The Puma STS from Basscat. Feel the rush.
Everything you need, one legendary brand. Top on Strike King.
Gear that just plain works. Cast after cast after cast. AFTCO. Any fish, any water.
Gamakatsu, the innovation leader in fish hooks, is launching Nano Alpha technology in 2024. Nano Alpha is a new finish available on Gamakatsu's most popular hook styles. It delivers 2 times slicker performance, 4 times better corrosion resistance. Nano Alpha technology makes the world's greatest fish hooks even better in 2024 to help anglers catch more fish.
Born in Japan, using technology, innovation, and precision, Sunline produces the widest selection of fishing lines at the most technologically advanced line factory in the world. Manufactured at the strictest tolerances to produce victories at the highest levels of tournament bass fishing. From household names like Christie, Swindle, and Cruz, to young guns like Cook, Logan, New, and Welcher, they all trust Sunline to take them to the top of the leaderboard. Choose the line that will give you the strength to guarantee your confidence. Sunline.
Your early morning mentality is your every hour mentality. All gas, no brakes. Focus, purpose, power. Destined for the water, but confident everywhere else. A calming buzz before the storm, the truth of nature itself. You can't catch lightning in a bottle. There's a limit out there, but it's not with your gear. Unrelenting power delivery. Unparalleled weight savings. Keeping you on the water, whether you run a 9.9 or outscoping your best 5. In this rare air, there's power in the silence. It's a mindset, thinking only of the things that matter and freeing your mind from the things that you trust.
Get the best patterns backed by tournament data. Start by finding the best 10% of your lake. Know exactly what to look for and what to throw. After that, just put them in the boat. Try the Deep Dive app today.
Look at that beast right there.
Yes.
Fishing isn't just a hobby, it's an obsession. Whether it's blazing hot or bitterly cold, bright sunshine, raining, or even snowing. Someplace, somewhere, there's a fish that's ready to bite. And as the angler, you need baits that will catch the fish anywhere, anytime, no matter the conditions. From throwing topwaters to cranking the depths, know the baits to throw. Choose Spro.
Denali Fishing has me covered on the Bassmaster Opens, from their line of high-end rods, from the Android series all the way to the Tack series, the Novus series bait casting reels, all the way to the Covert series of tungsten in the cylindrical and the teardrop shapes. Denali has everything to keep me covered, whether I'm finesse fishing for smallmouth on the Great Lakes or flipping for largemouth in the slop down in Florida. The complete lineup is always on my deck and in my boxes. Denali Fishing.
Have you considered purchasing new electronics for your rig? The type of mounts you choose to protect your investment should be part of the decision-making process. No matter if you prefer 1, 2, or 3 graphs up front, Beatdown Outdoors has a solution for you. Adjustable, versatile, rigid, and made in the USA. What's your ultimate electronic setup? Check out the full selection of Beatdown Outdoors products by visiting beatdownoutdoors.com.
All right, a little bit of a prolonged commercial break there. But, I mean, you're not going to cut off Skeet Reese after an hour. Icon in the industry being inducted into the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame in September. I'm sure Johnny will be there, hopefully. And a cast of characters as well as Mark Zona, Fred Abergast. There were 5 that are being inducted. McInnes, Alfred Williams. It's a good list of anglers going into the Hall of Fame. I didn't even get into this, but you're talking about some absolutely dominant performances for Skeet Reese, and maybe it just sticks out to me because I was just getting into the industry there in that 2006 2007 time frame. But from 2007 to 2010, obviously KVD was on a different level, but dude, Skeet was right there with him. So in that 4-year time period with Bass, and this includes, some major, some postseason events, some classics, some regular season Elite Series events, he had 24 top 10 finishes in 4 years. He won a classic. He won an Angler of the Year. He had 4 wins. He had a string in 2007 of a 2nd, a 9th, a 4th, a 2nd, and a 6th, the year that he won his Angler of the Year. Then in 2010, his first 5 events of the year were a 2nd, a 5th, a 1st, a 5th, and a 1st. And if you remember, that 2nd place is when he lost to John Cruz by an ounce. He lost to John Cruz by an ounce, and he weighed a dry weigh-in bag. And I don't know if that makes any difference, but at the time, they're pretty sure that was worth an ounce. He took all his fish out and put them in the weigh-in bag instead of dunking the weigh-in bag and taking it out. It was in front of that the hometown crowd out there in California. But I mean, that's insane to do that. A 2nd, a 5th, a 1st, a 5th, a 1st. I mean, those 4 years, and then continued to win. So well deserved for the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame. All right, we'll be back with another show tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. BTL. That's all we got for today. We'll talk to everyone later. See ya!